Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's episode of American Horror Story Asylum. Episode 5 we're on now. I Am in Frank Part 2. And damn, this episode was crazy. They really threw some twist in this one that I did not see coming at all. Really loved this week's episode. Just great all around. It starts off with Sister Jude going to see an Auschwitz survivor about Dr. Arden. He tells her about Operation Paperclip, and he warns her that if he really is an SS agent, not to corner him. It cuts back to the asylum, and we see Anne Frank take Dr. Arden into Sister Jude's office at gunpoint. Sister Eunice runs out of the office, gets a security guard, and they catch Anne Frank. So Anne Frank wakes up in a straitjacket and tells Sister Jude about Shelley, the monster she saw in the lab. But they search the lab and they can't find anything. So this man shows up at the asylum and says that he's Anne Frank's husband, and her name is really Charlotte. She lost her mind after they had their baby, and she just started to become obsessed with Auschwitz and carved the tattoo in herself. And they release her into his custody. He shows her a picture of them with the baby, and she kind of remembers this. So you're not really sure what's going on, because she was right about Dr. Arden. And I think she was right about, they did find that Nazi stuff in his house, and the head priest said they're on to you. So she was right. So you don't really know what to believe right now. We see Kit get released from solitary since he confessed to Sister Jude she's not going to have him sterilized. And Grace is still set to be sterilized in the morning. And then she gets abducted by aliens. This really came out of nowhere for me. She's abducted by aliens, and she sees Kit's wife there. So Kit was telling the truth, or his story made Grace crazier? I'm not really sure. But right now, I think Kit was telling the truth. Grace has been abducted too, and Kit's wife was there and was pregnant, I think. It was strange, and we didn't really get any answers to this, so that's definitely something they're building up to later. The psychiatrist tells Lena Winters that he's going to take her out of the asylum after dinner. Then he has Kit confess to the bloody face murders on tape, and he agrees that if he confesses on tape, he will tell the courts that he should stay in the asylum and not get the electric chair. So Kit does this. Dr. Arden returns and tells Sister Jude he's going to press charges against her. And he returns to his office, and Sister Eunice comes in and helps clean his wound. He thanks her for helping get rid of Shelley. And she says, "I believe in your work." So she took Shelley to the woods. And that's why they couldn't find anything in the lab. Well, then it cuts to this school where these kids are having recess. And one of them finds Shelley. She's at the bottom of the stairwell. And she's crawling up, and she's a monster now. Her face is getting worse and worse. She still has no legs, and she's just crawling. So I'm not really sure what happened here. If she was in the woods, I guess she crawled out of the woods. I'm still a little confused, and they don't go back to it. I'm sure there's going to be more in the future, but yeah, they don't really go back to this at all. But it was definitely a weird thing to see her outside of the asylum, and how she got at the bottom of the stairwell. So where are we at here? Anne Frank is returned to the asylum by her husband, and he says that he can't help her. He can't trust her with the baby. She needs professional help, so he returns her, and Dr. Arden tells him that he can help her by giving her a lobotomy. And they do. Then we see Lena Winters escape with a psychiatrist. And after Sister Jude finds out that she escaped, she realizes she's done. She's going to get kicked out of the asylum, and she's just going to go ahead and leave. So she takes off her nun clothes, and she goes to a bar, she gets drunk, and she leaves with some random guy. Kit gets arrested after the psychiatrist turns in his taped confession. So this was all a trick. He basically screwed Kit over here. And the last thing we see is Lena Winters. She's left with a psychiatrist, and he takes her back to his house. And he says he can't take her to her house because that's the first place they'll look for her. And they're going to call the police in the morning. Everything's going to be fine. They can tell her story and all of this stuff. But you instantly realize something's about to happen, because he's acting very strange. And she's sitting on his couch and he's just staring at her. She looks at the lamp and it's made of human skin. And I'm like, oh God. The psychiatrist, he's pretty screwed up. She looks at this bowl on the table and it's like the top of a human skull. So she says, can I use the bathroom? And he's like, yeah, it's down the hall. So she's walking down the hall and she's trying these different doors, and she tries one and it opens and she sees this room with all this skin hanging down and like bones. And he comes in and pulls the switch and she falls down into this basement area. So she wakes up and she sees the body of her girlfriend, meaning the psychiatrist killed her too. And we find out the psychiatrist is Bloody Face. So that's why he tricked Kit, was to protect himself. He wants Kit to take the fall for the Bloody Face murders so he can continue to kill people. And he puts the mask on and it's got teeth, and we find out it's her girlfriend's teeth he put in the mask. So that was really sick and twisted right there. But yeah, it was really weird. He says that he's going to continue her therapy, and he kept her girlfriend's body frozen so that it would stay fresh because he wants to continue her therapy and have her kiss the dead body. It's really getting out there, but damn, I did not see this coming at all. The psychiatrist being Bloody Face. I mean, that's huge. So this was a great episode this week. And 5th episode, I think there's going to be 12 this season. I'm not positive, but yeah, we're almost halfway through the season, and there is still a lot of stuff to be answered, and just, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect with what he's going to do with her. I mean, is she going to find a way to escape? And then we also have the future, or not the future, but the present time, where the Adam Levine character was killed and all the other Bloody Faces. So it's really just been a great season so far. I've really enjoyed it. So definitely check this one out if you haven't started watching it yet. But you have to watch this season from the beginning. And that's it. That's my review of this week's episode. Hope you guys liked this video. Leave your thoughts on this week's episode in the comments below, and thanks for watching.